Once upon a time, there was a woman who had no children. She once went to a good witch for help. The woman said she was dreaming of a child. The sorceress gave her a seed and ordered to plant it in a flower pot. The woman was very happy, thanked the old woman, and went home. At home, she planted a seed, watered it, and began to wait patiently. Soon a large wonderful flower, like a tulip, grew in the pot. When its petals opened, there was a tiny girl inside. She was very small, no more than an inch. Therefore, the woman called her Thumbelina. One night, when Thumbelina was fast asleep, a huge toad climbed onto the window of the house, wet and ugly. She grabbed the sleeping girl and hurried to her swamp. The toad decided to marry her ugly son to the beautiful Thumbelina. She planted her in the middle of the river on a wide lily leaf so that the girl would not run away. In the morning, Thumbelina woke up, and realized that she was not at home, but there was water around her. When the girl realized what a terrible fate awaited her, she wept bitterly. At this moment, small fish swam past. They felt sorry for Thumbelina. They gnawed at the stem of the lily, and the leaf floated with the flow with the girl. A large beetle flew past. Seeing a beautiful girl, he grabbed her and carried her to a tree, where he introduced her to his friends. They all envied her beauty, but said that Thumbelina was very ugly and could not be in their company. Under pressure from acquaintances, the beetle also decided that she was ugly, lowered the girl to the ground and said goodbye. All summer Thumbelina lived alone in the forest. She made a cradle for herself from grass and leaves. She ate on pollen and dew, basked in the sun in clear weather, and hid from the rain under a large leaf of burdock. But soon cold rains and winds came. Thumbelina did not have a winter outfit, and she began to freeze. The girl suffered from hunger and cold, and one day she was sheltered by a field mouse. Hey! They lived together gloriously. The girl helped the mouse with the housework, told her fairy tales, and in return received warm housing and food. The field mouse had a neighbor, a wealthy blind mole, who did this by counting his wealth all the time. Even being blind, the mole realized that Thumbelina was very cute and offered to marry her. But the girl was not at all happy about this. She did not like the boring mole. Once, walking along the underground passages, Thumbelina saw a wounded swallow, which almost died of the cold.
Oh no!
All winter she took care of the sick bird, and by the spring she cured her. Before the wedding, Thumbelina asked the mouse to let her go upstairs to admire the sun at last. When she climbed out of the mouse hole, she saw a swallow, which she cured.
Hello!
Thumbelina complained to the bird that she was being forced to marry a nasty mole and live with him deep underground. The swallow invited the girl to fly with her to warm lands, and she agreed. She quickly said goodbye to the mouse, climbed onto the swallow, and they flew away. Once in a wonderful country, Thumbelina saw a huge meadow with beautiful flowers. She chose the most beautiful flower for herself to live in. Suddenly, she saw in the flower the same little man as she, only with wings. It was the king of the elves. And an elf lived in every flower. The beautiful elf has never seen a girl as small as himself, and even so beautiful. He immediately fell in love with Thumbelina, and invited her to become his wife, the queen of the elves and the queen of flowers. After all her adventures, the girl was happy to hear such an offer from the charming prince. She happily agreed. The elf took Thumbelina by the hand, and at the same moment 2 wings appeared behind her. Now she has become the queen of the elves. And since then they have lived happily ever after.
Stingy old Mr. Scrooge has long loved nothing or anyone but his own money. He did not understand the joy that Christmas and New Year brought to others. Therefore, on the eve of the holiday, the old man refused to let his assistant leave work early, who wanted to buy a present for his son. Mr. Scrooge even turned down his nephew's invitation to celebrate Christmas with his family, and also refused to donate money to help children in need. The old man closed his office late in the evening and went home. And then, in his bedroom, strange things began to happen. A wind blew from somewhere, thunder rumbled, and suddenly the ghost of his companion, who had died last Christmas, appeared in front of him. Mr. Scrooge was very scared and did not understand what was happening. The spirit said that after death he was punished for not doing good and not helping people during his lifetime. He did not want the old man to suffer the same fate. So he warned Scrooge that 3 other ghosts would soon visit him. After these words, the spirit disappeared. The old man pretended that nothing had happened. But soon, the ghost of a child appeared before him. Mr. Scrooge was stunned because it was the spirit of his past years. The ghost, with the help of magic, transferred them to the past. The old man saw himself as a little boy in the town where he was born and raised. He was decorating the Christmas tree, and he had a lot of fun. Then Mr. Scrooge saw himself in his youth, the day when, full of delight and hope, he proposed to his beloved. After that, the old man saw himself matured. His wife was crying, and he could not understand why she decided to part with him. The fact is that Scrooge no longer paid attention to her, but only thought about money. The old man could not look at such himself from the side, and asked the ghost to return him back. The spirit eventually disappeared, but another ghost appeared in its place. He carried Scrooge to his assistant's home on Christmas Eve. The whole family was sitting at a poor table. The old man was sure that they all hated him, but he became convinced that this was not so. The aide offered a toast to Mr. Scrooge's health, and his wife very willingly joined the toast. And then the old man noticed that the son of his assistant was sick. Scrooge felt sorry for the child and ashamed of his behavior. Then the ghost took the old man to the house of his nephew. His whole family was happy about the holiday. Most importantly, they left a seat at the table for Mr. Scrooge. The old man did not expect to see this. He always thought that the whole family hated him. Eventually the ghost disappeared, but the spirit of future years appeared in its place. He brought Mr. Scrooge to his own funeral. Everyone said that it became easier for them when the old man finally died. Only then did he realize that in his entire life he had not brought good to anyone. Then Scrooge saw his helper carrying flowers to his son's grave. The old man could no longer look at it, and asked the ghost to bring him back. The third spirit disappeared, and Scrooge was back at home. The old man finally decided to change for the better. Fortunately, he found that time had gone back a few hours. Mr. Scrooge decided not to waste a minute. He still had time to change everything. The old man was sincerely happy about the approaching Christmas. He sent the most expensive and fattest turkey to his assistant's house. Scrooge then sent a gift to the helper's son, and donated a huge amount of money to charity. After that, the old man went to celebrate Christmas with his nephew, where the whole family welcomed him. The next day, when Scrooge's assistant came to work, he raised his salary. For his son, the old man became a godfather. Mr. Scrooge gave the boy the best possible treatment, and he continued to enjoy a healthy life. Since then, the stingy old man has become the kindest and most generous person in the city, and has earned universal love and respect.